this look is going to be a little bit easier thanks to these shadow shields. I got these at Walmart. So we're first going to just place an eyeshadow base down. Today I'm using the Plouise Rumour 2, but use any eyeshadow base that you have. Here's the star of the show, the Gemeni palette from Melt Cosmetics. First we're going in with the shade Mochi. This is the lightest greenish shade in the palette. And I'm just using a large fluffy brush to blend that into the crease. You can see I'm taking it pretty high, and that'll kind of be the theme where I get a little bit darker shades and go a little bit lower. So next we're going on the Fire OG, and you can see it get a little bit lower than where we went before, blending the two shades together, but not going as high as I did with the first shade. So as you can see, next we're going to go in with the shade Leo. This is a little bit darker of a green in the palette, and we're using a smaller pencil brush just to focus that color exactly in the crease as opposed to bringing it too high like we did with the other shades. Don't worry if it looks messy at this point. We're going to be doing a cut crease today as well, so just kind of put the shades on, blend them out the best you can, and then we'll go from there. Now we're going with the black shade. This is Bonnie in the Gemeni palette. Oh my god, you guys, this is the darkest black I think I've ever seen. Ever. It's amazing. So I'm just focusing that color again on the crease. Now going back in with that brush that we used earlier, the large fluffy one that had the light mochi on it, we're going to just blend those colors all together just to soften it up just a little bit. Next, using that Plouise eyeshadow base again, we are going to cut the crease. I think that cutting the crease pretty much brings any look to a whole nother level, so that's what you'll see me doing here. You don't want to go over too much of the eyeshadow, but you just want to clean it up. So that's what I was talking about earlier. It's okay if it's messy because there's this step here. So once you are done cutting the crease, you're going to go in and put this shade all over the lid. This is in the shade Goals, again from the Gemeni palette. I used a brush at first, but I really felt like my finger worked the best for this shade. So I also used a little bit of MAC Fix Plus to make it a little bit more vibrant. I just dipped my finger in it, sprayed it with some MAC Fix Plus, and placed it on the lid. And you can see it really brought the color to a whole new level, made it more vibrant, more metallic. Now we're going to do a little wing liner. We're using the Inglot Gel Liner in number 77, just a black gel liner. Love this stuff. The shadow shields make it so easy to create a perfect wing liner, and you'll see when I take them off how amazing it looks. But here I am just creating that nice wing. You just want to go out, trace it into a triangle, fill in the triangle, and then you're going to go from there, and you have your wing liner. Now you guys, check out what this wing looks like with the shadow shields. Oh my god, gorgeous, so crisp, so clean. I highly recommend these. Off camera, I'm going to pop on these lashes. These are the spiderweb ones. They're so cool. Now we're popping on some foundation. We're just focusing this just on the face. This is the Wet n Wild Photo Finish foundation. I love this stuff. It has great coverage. I love the shade. Everything about this foundation I really enjoy. And it's drugstore. Can't go wrong. So I'm just blending this into my skin with a large foundation brush, and then we're going to move on to concealer. I pretty much always go back to this concealer. This is the Kat Von D Lock-It Concealer. I just love it so much, even over Shape Tape, even over everything. This is my favorite concealer. If you watch my channel, you'll know that I always like to pat out my concealer first with my fingers. I think the warmth of the fingers really melts the concealer into the skin. And then I go in with the Beauty Blender just to really blend it all out. So that's what you'll see me doing here, blending it, and then we're going to set it. Today we're going to be using the RCMA translucent powder. I love this stuff, and as you can see, I'm just kind of pressing it into the skin. I'm not swiping. I'm really just pressing it in to help it set and keep it like that all for the day. Now we're going to do a nice little combination of all these. I start with the lighter shade of Mochi, then I go to Leo, then I go to Fire OG, then I did a little bit of Bonnie in there as well. I just wanted the look to look very bronzed, very green, very much like a witch would have that harsh contour. So keep in mind, these eyeshadows blend like a dream on the face because they blend like a dream on the eye, so I wouldn't expect anything less from them. Place the colors down. Again, I went from lighter colors to darker and then blended out with a larger fluffy brush, and I really loved how the contour came out. When you're finished contouring your cheeks, you're also going to want to contour your nose and make it look a little bit more snatched. So that's what I'm doing here, just using the lighter shades just to contour and make it look a little bit more defined. Next, we're going to move to the eyebrows. I love these eyebrows and how they came out, and I want to wear them all the time. This is the Goof Proof Pencil from Benefit Cosmetics in the shade number 6. Look at that arch. I love the arch. It really made these eyebrows. All I'm doing is creating that nice arched shape. Look at the difference between those two. Creating the shape and then filling it in. It's really just how I do my everyday brows. I just gave them a little bit higher of an arch. I created that like nice wing on the end and extended it just a little bit further than I normally would. For blush today, we're going to be using Honey Thief, again from Melt Cosmetics. I wanted to keep it kind of neutral, light, just placing a little bit on the cheeks. I didn't want it to take away too much from the contour. Now I'm using these blush lights from Melt Cosmetics. This is in the shade Shadowplay. It has this amazing green tint to it. I actually don't know when else I would use it except for today. So I'm placing that highlight on the high points of my cheekbones, and then I'm bringing it up on the forehead just a little bit to make it all look a little bit more cohesive. Now I'm going back to the lower lash line. Again, same colors from the Gemini palette. I'm just blending them all in the lower lash line and really smoking them out. So again, the Mochi, the Fire OG, Leo, and Bonnie. Really just spending some time down there, really blending it out. Next, I'm popping some black eyeliner in the waterline. This is 1987 from Melt Cosmetics. And then we're going to go in and put some mascara on the lower lash line. I'm using that same eyeliner technically as a lip liner here. I'm just lining my lips in black. It's because we're going to be going in with a black lipstick, also from Melt Cosmetics. As you can see, guys, that's a trend here. A lot of Melt products, not because this is for the contest, but because I love Melt. I have so many of their products, and they all fit really well for this look. I mean, how gorgeous does this look so far? I wanted to go back to the eyes. I felt like the cut crease needed a little bit more darkness to it, so I'm going back in with an eyeliner. This is the Inglot Liner, and really just super cutting that crease and creating a very defined crease. Going back in with a pencil brush and just blending out a little bit. I really think this made the eye look 10 times better. So here is the first of many spiders that I'm creating. It's kind of hard to explain because it's so tiny, but basically I'm making 2 small circles, one bigger than the other, and then drawing the legs out. There's going to be 4 total, but I want to create them so it looks as though this spider is going down towards the rest of the web. Again, I'll explain a little bit better later exactly how I draw the spider, but for now, this is the first one of many for the look. Going in and highlighting it with a little bit of white eyeliner. And now we're going to move to that neck illusion. First, I want to put a little bit more of that foundation where I want the skin to be. I'm just placing it on with a little brush, nothing crazy because we're going to be going over it with actual webs anyways, but it does give me a good sense of where I want the actual skin to remain. Using a black Mehron paint, we're going to go ahead and fill in the stem of where the bones would really be. And now we're going to create the red neck piece where the actual neck is missing. Now, I don't know who first did this disappearing neck thing. If you do, let me know in the comments because I would love to give them credit. I actually didn't use a specific picture. I just have seen it before, so I wanted to create it again. So let me know in the comments below if you know who initially created this. To intensify the illusion, we're bringing that black Mehron paint down on the neck just to make it all look cohesive and make it really blend in with the background. And now I'm filling in all that negative space where the neck is going to be the actual illusion. So I'm filling it in again with the Mehron black water activated Paradise paints. I'm now going in with that black shade from the Gemini palette and Bonnie and really just shading in pieces of the neck where the shadow would naturally be. Well, who am I kidding? There's nothing natural about this, but that's what I'm doing here is shading it in and then giving some highlight. Next, using an eyeliner pen, I felt this was the easiest way to create the webs. I'm creating those webs with the eyeliner, and then we're going to go back and do the same thing on the chest. What you're going to do is you want to create these spokes going down. Don't worry if it's not perfect, no web is. I wouldn't say that this chest piece was hard. It just took a lot of time because there's so much detail in it. So I'm going to pretty much just let you watch, but what I'm going to do is start to create all those little spokes on the web, and then we're going to go ahead and do some shading as well. Next, we're going to focus on some shading of the web. I'm using Mochi and Leo mixed together. And as you can see, I'm not shading the entire web itself, only where the web would actually give a shadow and cast a shadow. So I'm leaving a little bit at the bottom of each of the spokes of the web to create some highlighting later on. So that's what I'm doing here. I know this is fast forward, but this took forever to do. So I just wanted to give you an explanation of what I'm doing. Again, placing those shadows where the shadow would naturally be. Alright, so now I'm going to draw a larger spider and slow it down so I can explain a little bit better. So here are the 2 pieces that I was referring to. This is the head and this is the body. I'm using black Paradise paints from Mehron. And you just want to fill this in entirely black, and then we're going to go ahead and create the legs. I've done so many spiders that I don't even use a reference picture before, but feel free to use one in the beginning. So I wanted this spider to have 4 legs, so I'm doing 2 on the bottom as the legs and then 2 on the top as the arms, spider arms? I don't know what they're called. We could keep this as a silhouette, or we can create some highlights to make it look a little bit more realistic. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm placing some white Mehron paint and then I'm just blending it over to make it look as though the shadow is casted and really creating that highlighted look on top of the spider. We want to do the same thing to the arms, and I'm going to keep that white shade on the outside of the arms, just so you can see it a little bit better and really make it look as though it's sitting on top of the spider web itself. I wanted to also use some of that Gemeni color. This is in the shade Goals to create this kind of green tint to it. I thought it would look cool, and that's a finished spider. I'm doing some smaller ones here. I do them throughout the whole look, but I just wanted to explain that one more in depth so you can understand as I'm going through how I created each of those spiders. I'm going back to some of the shading with the shade Bonnie from the Gemeni palette and only doing some of the shadows to create a little bit more dimension. I also put the shade Goals throughout the web because I wanted to bring it a little bit more of a vibrant tone. So now I'm creating some more spiders using the same technique as I did with the larger ones, just creating smaller ones around the neck, or I should say the no neck, around the missing neck. Now I want to go back and do some highlighting. Anywhere where I left a space open before, we're going to go back and use some white paint and just create that highlight to give it some more dimension. How many times am I going to say dimension? But that's just the key to a look like this, is total dimension. So I'm finishing the same process on the neck as I did on the body itself. I then popped in some contacts, and this was the final look, you guys. I hope that you love it so much. Please comment below if you did. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.